Sony just released 3 brand new lenses, and among those 3 is the new Sony 15mm f1.4 G lens that they drop along with the 10 and 20 f4 power zoom and the 11mm f1.8 that you're looking at right now, but we did crop in quite a bit because it's honestly just a bit too much. Now there's a couple commonalities between these different lenses, so let's go ahead and get the elephant out of the room between this Sony 15mm and the Sigma 16mm lens. Now the first prized possession between these two is that they are both wide with a blurry background. Both of these lenses are an f1.4 lens, with the Sony lens being a G lens, and so you'll see that written on the side of the camera. Both of these lenses are honestly tack sharp, and since they both have an aperture of the f1.4, it makes it that much easier when you're going through and you're maybe recording or doing B-roll, or you're doing videos like this. You keep that nice blurry creamy depth of field and blurry background when you're going side by side looking at both of these lenses. Both of these lenses come built with a smooth autofocusing ring, so if you're pulling autofocus manually, it is a nice smooth experience, and both of these lenses feel good when you're going through and doing them. They are what you would call like a fly-by-wire, instead of like similar to the aperture ring that's on this 15mm where it clicks and you would do it that way. It's a little bit old school in the sense that it's like a manual thing, but you don't have to do that on either one of these. Both of these have a nice smooth autofocus ring. Now most of these commonalities are ones that you've probably already seen if you even look these up online, just a little bit of research. The most common question a lot of creators are asking themselves now: can it beat this legendary Sweet 16 lens that's been out literally since 2016? For a lot of people, that answer is no. And it boils down to 2 main reasons why. The first of that being weight. Now that is actually where the Sony takes the check mark here with these 2 lenses, is that the Sigma 16 comes in weighing in at 14.3 ounces or 405 grams, while the Sony lens comes in weighing 7.8 ounces and 219 grams. So it's a much lighter lens, and if you're somebody that travels, that's something that would make a difference to you. But if you're already used to using the Sigma 16, is it that big of a deal or a difference for you? Again, that's on something that everybody would have to judge for themselves, but let me know down in the comments, is weight a priority when you're carrying lenses, depending on how many you have, or just honestly wanting to keep a lightweight setup? Now for me personally, when it comes to traveling with the A6600 coupled with the Sigma 16 is a very heavy experience unnecessarily, especially when you want to travel pretty light. Now compared to other setups that some creators use that may be considered light, but for me, I thought it was a bit too much, and so having a smaller, lighter lens makes a difference if you're using something like the A6600. However, that's not the camera that's on everybody's mind. It's the Sony ZV-E10, because there's one other commonality that both of these lenses have, and that is no optical steady shot, meaning there is no stabilization in either one of these lenses, which honestly I think is pretty problematic. Something we would expect from a $300 lens, which is the second reason why most people may not be kind of vibing with it a little bit. That's maybe a $350 lens. Maybe you can find that around the 200 range, 280. And the new Sony lens comes in at $750 US. That price point is a bit of a sting, especially if you maybe already have the Sigma 16. So if you're coupling these lenses with a setup like the Sony ZV-E10, that is a very lightweight camera, and honestly when you pair it with either one of these lenses, you can offset some of that weight versus if you were using it with something like the A6600. Now there is something to be said about how big this one is versus how small this one is when you're carrying that around, but again, when paired with something like the ZV-E10, it's honestly very nice and something you wouldn't mind carrying around. When I carried this around with my buddy Kirk when he came to town and let him and his wife get a chance to see and experience these lenses, they were very pleased with the weight of these lenses and just honestly thought it was dope, and especially the one like the 11mm. However, if you're looking to add one of these to your bag from a weight and travel friendly experience, I think if you're into traveling, or maybe you don't have a lens, or you're looking for something like the G lens that has the button on the sides, if you're used to customization maybe from your full frame cameras, if you have any, then that may be something that you want, or you want the aperture ring depending on the kind of work that you do. Now, if you're into content creation and maybe your camera sits on a tripod 99% of the time, and the couple times you want to take it traveling, it's not that big of a deal to you, I think the Sigma 16 still holds the crown in this very easy comparison, because again, this lens, as fantastic as it is, it's just a smidge too late. We've had this Sigma 16 in our possession since 2016, or at least on the market, and we have not had a whole lot of Sony APS-C lenses, unfortunately, and we've been begging for them. But here's what I really think this 15mm f1.4 lens is really for: full frame cameras. Because unless Sony is getting ready to drop some bee's knees, Hall of Fame, chef's kiss APS-C camera, which I honestly don't think that they are, I think this is going to be for something when coupled like the Sony A7C Mark II. Do I know anything about that camera coming up? No. All I do is have my hopes and dreams of what I would hope goes in that camera. And because the last one had IBIS and digital stabilization, we can probably expect the same when it comes to using this lens paired with that camera or the existing Sony A7C. I really think it's those compact full frame cameras that are going to come in that Sony A7C lineup or style. I don't really honestly fully believe that it's going to be for APS-C, even though it's fantastic for APS-C cameras. Now here's what I'm predicting with this particular lens on something like a Sony A7C Mark II. Because of the Sony A7 IV, that is the upgrade to the camera that used to be your beginner entry-level full-frame camera, even though it was already great. Because that camera, and we now have, it exists, the A7 IV, and it has 4K 60 at a crop. The A7C Mark II is absolutely, in my opinion, going to have 4K 60 with that same APS-C crop. And nobody wants to pair a compact full-frame camera that kind of puts you in the mindset of a ZV-E10. It just so happens to be full frame. Taking that camera and we're now going to put big old lenses on it. No, we're going to go look for lenses like this. And for full frame camera users that are used to much bigger lenses, I think the 15G is absolutely going to be a winner and a steal for them. So are you looking to replace your Sigma 16, or is this another lens that you want to add to your repertoire? Probably not. Let's just be very honest, probably not. But it's something that some will. I think it's a small margin of people that will want to get it because it's lighter, and they do care about that. And I do think those that maybe just will be buying their first full frame camera, looking to offset some of the weight of full frame cameras and still get some of the benefits of lenses like the G Master lenses that have the extra button on the side, I think this is going to be a win for them. And it's an APS-C lens that's going to go with that 4K 60 crop. At least that's my opinion. That's my thoughts between the two. Did this lens absolutely crush the Sigma 16? For most of us, it's probably going to be a no. It's going to be a no. So, but for everyone else that don't have this already, but you're looking to swap between maybe some APS-C bodies and a full frame compact camera with maybe 4K 120, 422, 10-bit. I don't know. I mean, I don't know, Sony. You do what you want to do. I'm just throwing some stuff out there. Let the Lord bless you. Let him use you. May the Lord bless you and keep you always. I would have loved to have seen this kind of a lens with optical steady shot in it. And even if it wasn't a G lens, that's still under that $500 range. And then I think at that price point, with that additional feature that is important to a lot of people that either don't have stabilization, because literally only camera with stabilization with digital or can use catalyst browse that's APS-C is the ZV-E10. Just throwing it out there. We need a few more of those. Unless you got the ZV-E10 or are going to get one, then at that point you can, take advantage of this. It's a fantastic lens. However, any of the A6000 cameras, from the A6100 all the way up to the A6600, you're either working with two models that have IBIS. Everything else probably has nothing. And ZV-E10 is the only one that has digital. My thoughts, my opinions, let me know what you think down in the comments. Is Sony too late with this particular lens? Or are these features just enough to make you want to go ahead and upgrade with the intent to maybe at a later date go full frame, and this is an absolutely winner stellar lens for you, because that's why I honestly think this lens is going to be best for? Or are you sticking with your tried and true Sigma 16mm f1.4 lens? Let me know down in the comment section. But we got more coming on these new Sony lenses, but let me know what you want to see down in the comments. With that, guys, live with passion. I will see you in the next video.